Societies, BCA College, Nipani. So in the previous sessions we discussed on the different types of the system testing. So which type of testing which we have discussed? We discussed with the performance testing, we discussed the scalability testing, we discussed with the reliability and the stress testing. So the content which we are going to discuss in this session is nothing but the interoperability testing and the localization testing. So what is the interoperability testing? Interoperability is an ability of a one system to interact with another system. This interaction is between two different systems or the two different applications altogether. So which means that, see, for example, if we are using the MS Word and the MS Excel applications together, so these are the two different applications, but still they are going to interact with each other. Now how they are going to interact with each other? It is possible for us to copy the data or to transfer the data from MS Word to Excel. Yes, it is possible. Again, we can transfer the data vice versa from Excel to the Word also. So they are interacting with each other in a different manner. So that is the thing in which we need to consider over here. So this technique is how an application is going to interact with another application, how they are behaving with each other. So when we do the interoperability testing, we check how the data from one application is transferred to another application without prior intimation in a meaningful manner and further processed to give the accepted output. Now this is the simple example. Also, when we are trying to develop, okay, any application, a software related application. Now see, there are the two different models, a login module and the admin module. So these are the two different models which are working in a opposite manner with each other. Now what is the purpose of the login module? Where the user is needed to enter the valid username and password. Now if the user is going to enter the valid username and password, then we can say that the admin page will going to be displayed to the user. Okay, so which means that these applications are interacting with each other. So when only the user is trying to enter the valid username and password, then only the admin page will be get displayed to that particular person. So this is the thing which we need to consider over here. See, we need to check with the interoperability testing is that thing that how the data from one application is transferred into the another application. So without any prior intimation. Why? Because there is no any prior intimation when a user is logging over there. Why? Because it is not necessary thing which we need to perform in a software development application process. Why? Because it is the process, it is the thing which we need to consider when we are developing an application or the software over here. So when we do the interoperability testing, we need to check that how the data from one application is transferred into the another application without prior intimation, and the data which is going to be transferred, it should be get in a meaningful manner, and it should be get further processed to give the accepted output over there. So that is the interoperability testing. So this is the basic example. Again, if we need to consider that one more example related to this. Now suppose when we are the employee of an any ABCD organization. Okay, now suppose we are the employee. Now when we are the employee with any an organization, and if that organization is having a software applications which is going to maintain the information related that employee, so the information is going to be maintained in all the respects. So we can say that they are going to maintain the information related their personal documents also. The documents are nothing but the Aadhaar card is there. Again, the identification documentations are required over there. Also they are going to maintain that how much experience they are having, in which field they are working. So when we need to find out the salary sheets of the particular respected employee, so when an employee or when an administrated person is trying to enter the ID of that particular employee, what we are going to get, we are going to get the full information related about that employee. Also we can also it is possible for us to find out the salary details also. Why? because in this way we can say that these applications are going to be interacted with each other, and where the data is going to be transferred in an appropriate manner, in a meaningful manner, which will be get considered for the further processing. So there is no any prior intimation that the data is going to be transferred from this application to this application, but it is done actually when they are developing an application. So that is all nothing but the interoperability testing. Now the next type of a testing is nothing but the localization testing. So localization is defined as making a product or application or the document content adaptable to meet the cultural, okay, again the in a language manner and the other requirements of the specific region or a local. So that is nothing but when we are developing or when an organization is developing an application, so that application should be get used in all the respect regional areas. So which means that this application is defined as a making a product or application or a document content adaptable to meet the cultural also, in a language manner also, and other the requirements of the specific region or the local. Now for example, if we can say that if that particular application is developed in India, okay, or in a Japanese, it should be then be specific with their language only, Japanese language. Then when it will be get considered that when they are accepting such a language in India, it should be get converted into the English language. So why this is nothing but the localization concept, where we need to change the meaning. Again, see that the currency of the India is rupees, okay. So when a cost matter is coming over there, okay, so as per the USA a dollar will be get considered, as per the India the rupees will be get considered. So that software application should be get matched with the cultural in a language manner and other requirements of the specific regions or locals will be get considered over here. So this process of adapting a product to a different language, region and the local is called as a localization, which means that that software application should be get match in all the environments, in all the regions, in all the locals where they are needed to use. So again we can say that this is also the one of the type of the requirement which we need to consider when we are developing an application. Why? Because it is based on the requirements of the customer, and the customer's requirements are actually maintained or basically maintained in the SRS, and that SRS is nothing but the software requirement specification, where we need to take care that whether that application or whether that particular program is used in that particular region, or it should be get distributed to all over the regions which are necessary. So it should be get considered when they are trying to develop it. Again, okay, a localized product creates a more business opportunities and creates a growth and expansion. Now for example also you can say that when you are trying to open your Google or the Gmail pages, okay, it should be present in a Hindi, it should be present in a Marathi, it is present in English, it is present in a Korean language. Now why this is? Because these products, these applications are developed in a such a manner that they are considered a more, or they are going to create a more business opportunities for their respective organization. So according to that we can say that it is going to create the growth in an organization, and the expansions of the organizations will be get occurred over here. So that is the basic concept behind the localization. Okay, so localization means what? This is the process of adapting a product to a different language, region and the local is called as a localization. So a localized products create more business opportunities, and it creates a growth and the expansion. So localization is defined as making a product, application or document content adaptable to meet the cultural also, in a language manner also, and in other requirements of the specific regions or the local. So that is the localization testing. So we will revise again the interoperability. Now, interoperability means that interoperability is an ability of a one system to interact with the another system. So, the interaction in between the two different system or the two different applications altogether, it is nothing but the interoperability. So, this technique is how an application is going to interact with another application. So when we do the interoperability testing, we check how the data from one application is going to be transferred to the another application. Now when they are transferring the data, there is no any prior intimation, and that data should be get transferred in a meaningful manner, and that data will be get used or further processed to give the accepted output. So that is the interoperability testing. Now see, these are the again two types of the system testing which are very much considered. Why? Because the system testing is going to focus on the functional requirements and the non-functional requirement, and whatever may be the testing types which we are saying, that is nothing but the performance, scalability, stress testing, reliability testing, interoperability, localization, all these type of testing types are comes in a non-functional testing types of the system testing. So these are very important. Why? Because it should be get done by an organization when they are developing an any application, because the functional type of things or functional testing is nothing but they are going to focus only the requirements of the customer that they are going to be collected from them and which are maintained in a SRS. So that is the functional, but the non-functional that is nothing but we need to focus on all these areas. So the content which we are going to discuss in the next session, which is nothing but again the sum of the type of the non-functional testing. Okay, and thank you.